Greetings, greetings. Hopefully, everybody is feeling well this evening and enjoying their time alone or family or wherever you are. Hopefully, everybody is doing well. And once again, my name is Matt McCoy. I am here representing the Harlem Holistic Wellness Week, the H2W team. And I have the pleasure once again to bring something exciting to you. Brings you a very exciting person. This young lady right here is a ray of sunshine. She is probably one of the most dynamic and incredible and wonderful people I know. She's a therapist, family therapist. We're going to get right into it with her. I'm not going to waste no time because we got a lot to talk about. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to bring to you the only Miss Vladimir Calixte. Vladimir, how are you?
I'm well,
Can you hear me?
you. Yes.
Okay. Oh,
I'm well. Well,
excellent.
Let me take that back. I am both grateful and sad.
There you go. Grateful and sad. Well, I mean, there's good news and bad news. Give me good news first.
I think I'm grateful because I have a roof over my head. I'm safe. But at the same time, I'm sad because of all the things that are happening around the world and to other folks. And it's heartbroken. It is.
Okay. Well, that is true. That is true. There's a lot of sad people out here right now who are not even, we're feeling sad for others who have to go through things. I know my aunt just died on Saturday, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. So we're all going through it. Nobody's, I think, is immune to it. We all are dealing with something at some point. But the mere fact that we're talking right now means that we're okay, and we're blessed to still be here and to still do what we need to do and to help others to do this. So let's jump on in it. Let's jump on into it. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is Vladimir Calixte. She is just one of the most outstanding people I know. We share the same office areas on the same floor that we are. And I always know when she's walking. I always know it's Vladimir walking through the hallway because you can feel the sunshine coming down the hall. Vladimir, tell the world a little bit about yourself. Your background. You have a really interesting background that you shared. I remember the first time I heard you give a speech or a workshop. You're doing a workshop on therapy, and I heard you tell your story. I was like, wow. And I said, she is really incredible. So, give the world a little bit about your story.
Well, I would say that I think with my story, I am a living testimony of by God's grace, of course, but of the work of becoming the student of self. That's the best way I can put it. I grew up in Haiti. I was born there, and I migrated to the United States. I was 8 years old. So that comes with its own set of challenges. But most important, I think my story really began when realizing or coming from a single parent household. My mom, she was a single mother. She did the very best that she could. But I was really longing for my father. I was really longing for a relationship with him. And that was very painful for me. And for a long time, that really just became my identity, was my father's absence became my identity. My father has multiple children, again, which was a source of pain because who doesn't want to be daddy's girl? Who doesn't want to be able to just go to dad? And that's really where my story began. I became a pleaser, constantly people pleasing, did very well in school, but all for the wrong reasons. It's just really to hear that I'm enough, to hear I'm proud of you, just to get accolades. But inside, I was empty. And it's not really until I started to do my own inner work, really starting to find out why I'm doing the things that I'm doing, why I was constantly people pleasing, which is draining, by the way. It's extremely draining. It's a bottomless pit. When I really started to do my inner work, that's when I started to realize my patterns. I started to really realize who I am and really realize my worth. And then as time progressed, really fell into life rebuilding and much, much, much later on, therapy for Black men. But I would say, though, that's really where my story began, realizing how tough it was. I could only imagine how tough it was for my mom, but having an absent father, that was my identity.
So in you, that experience, you said you felt pain and absence and reaching out for help, but you wound up becoming a helper for people. Did that experience cause you to become the outstanding therapist that you are now?
You're so sweet. What it did was it made me empathize with people who are going through. Usually we tend to just sometimes dismiss, but really to get to really know someone and really find out what it is that's paining them, what it is that they're going through, and really being a listening ear goes a long way. So I think I always knew that I had a passion for people. I had a passion to help people out of my own pain. But really, the therapy is really for me a calling. It really, truly is. Being able to sit with people and being able to hear their story, because we all have one.
Right. And I mean, we're not going to give away any names or say it, but you don't just sit with anybody. You sit with some really cool people, and which goes to show that everybody needs therapy, no matter how small you are, how big you are, what kind of celebrity you are, or whatever. Somebody needs therapy. There's something going on in everybody's life. Money doesn't mean anything, and all those. It's just there's something to be about. You've been a therapist for how long now?
Wow, this year will be 20 years since I've been in the field. 20.
Wow. It's all right. You're right there. You're 10 years old. And you're the world.
Yeah, I've been in the field. Wow. Yeah. It's pretty a long time.
Wow.
Because I started in the field. I'm sorry, Matt. I started in the field.
No.
Wow. I started at 20. Yeah. I started in the field at 20, working at Covenant House. That's how I started. Started initially as a vocational counselor and then moved to really counseling youth. So yeah, pretty long time.
Okay, we are back. We had a little technical difficulties. So we're back. Hopefully everybody's still with us. We apologize for that. There was a lot of high volume tonight on the internet. I think everybody's coming to see you, Vladimir. everybody's flooding the internet to come see you. It's the first time this happened, like in like 4 weeks, that I've had to, a glitch in the machine and the thing's down. So we're back though. So I'm sorry, you were talking about the 20 years in the industry, and you're a therapist. You cover all forms of therapy, right? Family therapy. What types you cover, and what's your favorite, if there is one?
So I do a lot of individual and couples therapy, but the couple dynamic is my favorite dynamic, because you get to really see that we really bring our dysfunctions, but also our strengths from our childhood. So one of my favorite questions, Matt, to my couples is, who's actually in charge of this relationship? Who's in control? Is it the inner child that's in control, or is it the adult version of you that's in control? So that's one of my favorite. It's my favorite dynamic. It's the couples dynamic.
Okay, and so each person has to reveal who's really taking part in the relationship, and then whatever the dominant one is the one that pretty much controls the relationship. That's interesting. I hope I never come to see you for that. I hope I never. But I can imagine there's a lot of couples, especially right now with COVID-19 and being quarantined. There's a lot of people who are forced to be at home with their spouse or their girlfriend or boyfriend or whoever they're shacking up with. At this point, they're forced to be at home, and they might not be used to being at home with them 24/7. Mm-hmm. And that's a big adjustment. Have you been seeing that? Are people calling you for help from home?
I mean, a lot of stuff comes. A lot of stuff is illuminated when you're in close quarters, 24 hours in the day. A lot of things are illuminated. And for most couples, I mean, all the couples, you really get to see really the nuts and bolts of the relationship, what makes it work. And also you get to really find out whether you're really supposed to be with this person.
That's the biggest thing for me. I think a lot of people are probably with the wrong person in the first place. And you're going to find out real quick right now. These last months, people really find out, boy, did I make a mistake? But they can't go nowhere. They can't even get out the house. So, everybody's praying for Cuomo and Trump to say, go outside. And we're making light of it, but it really is a serious issue. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I think I know domestic violence is going up right now, unfortunately. And I mean, just unfortunate lady in my in the building next to me, we thought that she jumped from her terrace on the 22nd floor, and she jumped from her condo, and we said no. But come to find out, she was pushed by her boyfriend, off the terrace. Domestic violence, and I'm quite sure this whole situation had a lot to do with it. Just because when you mix being in the house with the wrong person and alcohol or drugs or whatever and stuff like that, things can happen. So we pray for everybody who is at home and having to stay. But even just for families now, families who are together now, especially here in New York, you have a lot of like 2 or 3 generations of families living in 1 2-bedroom apartment, and that can be stressful. People dealing with that. Are you dealing with families calling you also? You deal with the couples that have families they're dealing with, or?
Not so much so. It's really just the couples and couples who have children, and really how to navigate this quarantine, and also really balancing spending time together and balancing alone time. That's for the most part. And then as you were talking, Matt, I thought about what's also coming up is that we're grieving. This is something I've been saying since this pandemic started. We're grieving, and it manifests itself in so many different ways, whether it's anger, sadness, shock, denial. It does manifest itself. So that's a lot to contend with, especially if you are in an abusive home. So that's extremely challenging.
Yeah. So are you doing what is it called? Teletherapy right now? you can't necessarily see people. Are you doing over the computer like we're talking right now? Are you counseling with people like this?
Yes, telehealth. Yes.
Yeah, it's called telehealth. You call it telehealth?
Yes, video counseling.
Yeah. Okay, and I'm sure you're always busy then every day. You get a full schedule. The people just sitting home in front of the computer waiting for you to come on to talk to you. So that's interesting. I mean, technology fortunately has allowed for that to happen. Because I can imagine before this technology, where people wanted to see the therapist, this had taken place, they couldn't do it.
Absolutely.
So so we're fortunate. They're fortunate that you could be of service to people, even at home, and they can just stay home and cut down on their train fees to come and see you. Now you have a big thing that you're doing. Before I get to that though, you were and I want to say congratulations. I found out through a little birdie, and we probably know who that little birdie is, said that you won some award or was voted best therapist in the world or something. Maybe not the world, but it was
not the world. I was recognized, not only me, but 3 other therapists in New York City as the 3 best marriage therapists in New York City. So
there you go. All right. The 3, the top. You were number 1, and the other ones took second and third.
Yeah.
And that's real cool. Congratulations. That was again, I keep telling people that you're dynamic, and there's the proof of the pudding right there. So
you know what it is, Matt, though? Sorry to cut you. I just love what it is that I do. I really do. I really enjoy it. It's a calling for me. And it's just having people come and be vulnerable with their deepest, darkest fears, things they wouldn't share with anybody. And just to be able to be in their presence and to listen, it's really a privilege. So it's not something I take lightly. So
okay. Well, you know what? I can definitely attest that you are in love and joy and serious about your work. Because when I see you got minutes to talk, if that much, you're usually running somewhere to get something to eat because you didn't eat in 2 days. You've been with all your clients, and clients are coming. They're on their way. They're getting ready to come up the elevator, and you're trying to get something to eat. So, so I can definitely attest to seeing you scurry around the hallways trying to get back to your office to deal with people. So now you have this big thing that you started about a year or 2 ago, Therapy for Black Men. Let's talk about that. Because brothers need some help every once in a while, but we're afraid to ask for it. So talk about that.
Therapy. Thank you. Therapy for Black Men was really born out of, again, the pain that my father, that I felt from his absence. That's really where it was born.
You're there.
Oh, I thought we froze again. So it was just really. What did you say?
No, I just have you by yourself. Yeah, it's your show now.
Oh, okay. No, I'm sorry. I thought we froze again. So Therapy for Black Men was just really born out of that pain, just really realizing, again, how tough it was without my father and the pain of his absence, but also coming to the place where I realized that he was wounded. He was most likely not taught the inherent importance of his emotional life. And that's when my forgiveness of him really started, and really my empathy and compassion for him. So Therapy for Black Men is a therapist directory for our Black men and boys. And it's just dedicated to the overall well-being, mentally, spiritually, as well as psychologically, of our Black men and boys. And what I love about what came out of this so much so is the vulnerability, Matt, of our Black men. I have so many Black men who have contacted my husband and I, as he's the co-founder. So he is behind all this as well. We've been contacted by so many men saying, thank you for this platform. Thank you for seeing us. Thank you for acknowledging that it is hard for us. It's just been phenomenal, just especially on Instagram. Them being able to get together and support one another. And I talk about a wide range of things. I ask a lot. I do believe in this inquiry technique, asking our men questions. So asking a lot of questions, asking when was the last time they cried, asking about how they feel about themselves. And again, as I expressed to you at the top of the hour in my own journey, I think, most of all, that our goal, my husband and I, our goal for therapy for Black men is for Black men to come to understand the inherent importance of their emotional life.
Is your husband a therapist also?
He's a coach. He's an executive coach.
Okay, so that's great. You guys team up.
He has a background in psychology as well. So
that's beautiful. So you're saying men are coming out and sharing and you know, being vulnerable, as you said, which is rare. Or people think it's rare for Black men, especially, to do that. Do you find that it really is rare, or that they just need somewhere to go and just need where to go? If they know where to go, they'll come.
I think it's that. I think once, from my experience, I'll speak, because I do have a lot of Black men that I counsel both individually and as a couple. I think it's just really feeling heard. I think once they feel heard and really understood, they'll be vulnerable. And I think what the grievances that I've heard from our Black men is that they're not heard. They're misunderstood. The time is not really taken to ask, how are you feeling? To really inquire, to find out. I think therapy for Black men has proven that once they have the space, they'll talk, they'll be vulnerable, but they have to have the space. They have to feel safe. I think for the most part, there's a safety that they don't feel.
Right. Is that because, what do you believe? Why do you feel that is, that they don't feel comfortable? Why is that?
I think for the most part, again, it's the notion.
Cultural.
It's definitely cultural. It's the conditioning of manning up. I think we're frozen again.
Here we go.
We were frozen again.
I'm back, and hopefully you are back. Okay, we're back. We're sorry, guys. We don't know what's going on today. Of all days, I have Vladimir. You just too much energy. You're shutting down the internet with all your. But we're back. So you were saying that it's cultural. It is all those things.
Absolutely. Definitely. Once you have the safe space, but it's cultural because of that conditioning of manning up. Man up, Black man, strong. I hate that word. Strong Black man. So how can anyone be vulnerable to say they're scared or they have depression or they feel anxious if you're being told to man up? If there's an environment that's cultivated where you can't even be yourself to say, you know what, I'm scared. It takes a Black man to say I'm scared in an environment where he doesn't feel safe.
Right. Yeah. I guess because as children, as little boys, we grow up, and if you're lucky enough to have a father at home, usually he's over macho sometimes. If I can use that word, when it comes to the boys, got to be tough all the time. Go out there and fall down and don't cry. Say if you get hurt, don't cry. Fight. It's the kind of situation. Yeah. So we all, kind of raised. And then now, do you also feel that it will get back to the therapy Black men, but as I think deals with it also, is there some issues with the mothers? Just right now, we have a lot of men who are raised by single parent households. and it's usually mother. And I was raised in a household with 4 women. And it was just me and 4 women. It was the only man in the house. And I grew to learn and appreciate women because of that. Because I had different dynamics of women, different ages, and so I grew to love and appreciate them because I and get to know women very well because I was around them all the damn time. You know what I'm saying? So I got that, that feeling. But there are a lot of sometimes I feel, and it's one of the things, and correct me if you think I am wrong, but I always believe that women, and I've heard it from other psychiatrists, women coddle their sons a little bit too much at times. And that's a cultural thing that comes from slavery because they wanted to protect them. And so they over baby them. And then you have a Dr. Francis Cress Wilson said the baby boy syndrome. And which can be, it's the opposite of what men do to make you too tough and too, unfeeling or afraid to express your feelings because you're supposed to be tough. But then if you get the baby boy syndrome, some grow up to be men. What do you think about that?
I agree. I think then that's where the nice balance comes in, where you really get to really know your boy and you provide him with what it is that he needs. Get to find out how exactly he needs to be loved by you, but with balance. Because I have a boy myself, so I get it. There is a tendency to want to baby your boy, to want to baby your little man, but I guess it takes emotional maturity to just really balance. So I guess the mom has to be emotionally mature to really realize that there needs to be a balance. Hence why it's the beauty of having both parents in the home.
Right. Yeah. And that definitely is the beauty. And let's just go there. I wasn't going to go there today, but there's always that debate, argument. Women oftentimes are bitter, rightfully so, and in a lot of parts, but they're bitter, I believe, because they just chose the wrong men in their lives. And that's a whole nother, conversation. You always attract the wrong people to you. There's a reason for that. You're attracting the one but yourself. Look in the mirror. Whatever you're attracting, it's you. And if you keep getting the wrong person, it's something about you. It's not the people you meet, it is you. And that goes for men also. If you keep getting the wrong women, it's something wrong with you. There's, so, but you have women, and I see it every year when Father's Day comes up, women want to congratulate each other for Happy Father's Day and so forth and so on. And men get upset because you're not a father. You just, and I say, you're really not a father. You're a parent who's doing a good job of being a parent. Yes. And, I have a daughter. And I always felt that I have a daughter and I'm a man. I understand women and I love women, but I can't raise a girl to be a woman. That's just not part of my DNA. And I do believe the same thing. Women can't raise a boy to be a man. You're not a man. I don't know how men think and what is part of DNA, but I always found I wanted to always surround my daughter with really cool and professional and women that she could look up to. I had her around my sister Yana all the time and, all those kind of things. I wanted her to be around women so that she can learn how to be a woman. So she can learn what womanhood was about, So what do you think about that? Am I thinking Neanderthalish or?
Absolutely not at all. Because I have a girl and I have a boy and I definitely can't teach my boy how to be a man. That's my husband's job. So I definitely do agree with you. Actually, when I see those posts on Mother's Day, when women are saying Happy Father's Day to women on Father's Day, I understand it. I do, sure, but I do question it. Question why it's being said. Because I know definitely it's coming from hurt and pain, because I'm pretty sure the woman knows that she cannot teach her son how to be a man.
I think most women do believe that, or those who are the single mothers. And again, I'm not knocking them. I love they're doing great jobs, but they're great parents. They're not great fathers. They're great mothers and they're great parents. And they can teach a man to be a good person and to study hard in school and do the right thing in life. But you can't, I remember my mother always allowed me and encouraged me to go out with my uncles and my older cousins so that they can teach me how to be a man. It wasn't her job. Saying that her job was to make sure I was a good person and that I had what I needed to survive, as any parent would do. But when it came time for me to learn how to be a man, go with your uncles, go with your cousins, go play baseball with them, go fishing with them, go do manly things with them. So I figure I'll just bring that up because we're probably.
I'm sorry, but I think Matt is coming from a hurt place. Women who post those things, they may mean well. I don't think it's the intention. They're well-meaning, but I think what it is it's coming from a place of hurt. It definitely is coming from a place of pain and hurt, because I'm pretty sure they do know, and there's this awareness that they cannot teach their sons how to be a man. That can only come from another man.
Yeah. I mean, and I've seen some posts of women saying that they did teach their sons to be a man, and I'm like, okay, all right, if you want to believe that. And I know some of them, and they have great sons. They have great sons. They did a great job as a parent. Like I said, great job. They were lucky. I had a great mother. I was lucky to have a great mother, but she found that balance for me to make sure that I had male things to do. You know what I'm saying? And, men to run with who were great role models. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's very important. But you get that often in your therapy sessions also. That dynamic.
Not so much so. What I do realize, what comes again, which seems to be the pattern, is that unless you heal from the childhood wounds, they're gonna keep showing up. They're gonna keep coming up in your friendships, in your romantic relationships, as well as your familial relationships. That's really the pattern and the recurrent theme that I do see, that there's most of us, there's still childhood wounds there that that we have not worked through. We haven't worked through them. So that's really what comes up.
If we haven't worked through those childhood wounds, those wounds then still bleed and show themselves in our adulthood. And then that pain that we have, we're still carrying into relationships that we have. And that's a bad thing. Carrying that baggage, as they say, over to the next relationship. That's one thing I always tell people I try not to do is to, whoever that woman was and whatever issues I had with her is her. I can't attribute that to somebody else unless I keep getting the same type of situation. Then it's my problem. It's not though it's me. But thank God I've never really had that situation. But so, do you see a lot of people carrying baggage, men carrying baggage with them against women?
Absolutely. That's usually the theme, though. If the source of a lot of conflicts, the underlying sources is there's a lot of wounds that have not been worked through. There's a lot of things that this is one of my best things I said. I actually said this to my husband the other day, Matt. I said to him, I realized the reason why our marriage works so well. I realized why our marriage works so well is because I have become a student of him as he has become a student of me. He's an expert on me and I'm an expert on him. That's why we work so well. But the only reason why that is because we continuously do our own inner work and we're a student of self. So again, a lot of these conflicts come up because most of us, we're not student of self. We're not aware of our patterns, our unconscious tendencies. We are constantly pointing the finger and blaming our spouse, but we're not looking in because sometimes we're afraid. Well, most of the time we're afraid. But I do think that's the pattern. A lot of the childhood wounds, a lot of the things that we haven't worked through will show up. Again, that's why I always ask my couples, who's in control? Is it that inner little girl or boy? Or is it the adult version of you that's in control? And once you realize who's in control, then you do the work accordingly.
I'm so glad you said that because, when I was a child, I wanted to be a psychiatrist. But then I thought all psychiatrists were crazy, so I decided not to do it. You're not crazy, so that's a good thing. But I always felt that self-mastery was important. If you don't know who you are and understand you can't define or choose a good mate for yourself because you don't even know who you are. And then you can't learn to understand somebody else. And I always felt this from a man's point of view, that whatever woman I'm dealing with, I should know everything about her that I can. Absolutely. I should know what she wants before she asks for it. Absolutely. And that's because you study them. You understand, their emotions, their emotions, how they talk, the inflections in their voice. This means this means that. Those things are very important that people don't pay attention to in relationships. And that's why I think relationships fail. And most of it is because you just chose the wrong people, because both of you are doing the same thing, not paying attention to each other.
Absolutely. So, but most of the time, the common theme is you don't really know yourself. So yeah. You don't really know yourself. If you took time to really become a student of self, it will really open up or have you more open to really learning about someone else. Again, we're too caught up in blaming. Well, he did this and she did that. Well, when a relationship is always a reflection of your inner conditioning, it always is.
And isn't that human nature, though, to some point, to some degree? We always try to find something or somebody else to blame instead of ourselves.
Absolutely.
That's what we do. Nobody wants to look at themselves as being the bad guy, or being wrong or being the one who's doing wrong. And so we have some questions here. People are already asking questions. Nice. And of course, Yana would be the first one. Put it right there on the screen. Can you see that?
Yes.
All right. So Yana, world famous Yana Woodhouse, Dr. Yana Woodhouse. It is said that more divorces will occur during the coronavirus. Are there any techniques people can employ to lessen the emotional loads?
Oh, great question, Yana. I think it goes back to what I was saying, making sure that you're really studying your partner. Ask questions like, how do you want me to love you, especially during this time? When should I know that you need your space? What cues do I need from you to know that you need space? Again, inquiry, finding out, not assuming, because nobody's a mind reader, but talking things out, talking things through, constantly inquiring, becoming inquisitive. That will definitely lessen the emotional load. And not keeping anything in, because a lot of times we're thinking things, we're not sharing, we're not being vulnerable about what it is that we need. And also, in order to cultivate that vulnerability, just really talk through what you need to feel emotionally safe. The kind of environment that you need, that you both need to cultivate. Again, both need, because it's always two people that you need so you can feel emotionally safe. Again, so you can lessen that emotional load because we're grieving. So, and it's compounded by so many other things. So you have to ensure safety, emotional safety.
I've always believed in talking to people and friends who have issues. They seem to always call me for advice. And I always look at it is two people in this situation and in this relationship. People look at love as a two-way street. I don't use the term two-way street because you can pass each other and keep moving in a two-way street. I use it love and you will continuously revolve around each other and with each other and walk in the circle and continuously, be in the mix of each other. So I look at it more as circular than that two-way street, because you could two cars pass on two-way street. I don't see that car anymore if I want to. It's an easy out for it to be two-way street. It's an easy way to get out and to keep moving. So that's how I look at it. Let's keep going with some more of these questions. Andre is saying, thank you, Vladimir.
Hi, Andre.
Congrats, Vladimir.
My cousin. Hi, Tamara.
Of course, Yana again. Your energy is affecting the internet. That's what I said. Yep. Somebody from the H2W team said, "What do you think of society diminishing the idea of men and female roles?" That's a good one.
Really good question. Diminishing the roles. I would want more specific, just to be more specific.
All right, let me take this. Yeah. Let me pick this one apart because I think that's a good question.
Great question.
Society puts roles, like everybody has a role. Like the man is supposed to do this, and that's all he's supposed to do. And the woman is supposed to do this, and that's what she's supposed to do. So if you want to take it that way, like I always talk to brothers and I always say, well, if you look at the animal kingdom, you know, and look at what they do, look at the lions. You know, the first thing you got to do is get down your job if you got a job to do. The lion's role is to procreate and kill the hyenas. That's their job. Protect and procreate. If you can't get that down first, that's the first thing you got to do. Get it down first. But also, I think, especially in today's world, roles kind of cross and change. And, you know, we might be married. I might be a better cook than you are. And you might not even cook. I know some girls today who can't even cook. So I might do more of the cooking, which most people would think is the woman's role. You might be better at managing the finances than I might be, and you pick up that role to do, you know, those things. And I remember my ex-wife and I, we had a great marriage. But we had a great marriage because I knew my weaknesses. And I knew her strengths and vice versa. So I'm like, this is more your area. You know, whatever you think is best on it and do that. So what do you think about those things?
No, I think really why I ask for more in terms of the to specify a little bit more. My French is not allowing me to say the word specificity. But I think I come from this school of thought, Matt, that as long as you're a community, because a marriage is a community, as long as you're a community, it's like what you said, the power of influence. If someone's strength is the finances, then that's what it is. If someone's strength is cooking, that's what it is. And just talking through really what that looks like. And in terms of diminishing the roles, the specific roles for men and women, I think it's whatever works for your home. Whatever works for your home, it makes it flow well, is what you do. So initially when I read that, I think initially my thought, I immediately went to, I guess it depends on the person's home. Whatever works well for your home, whatever works for the flow of your home, that's what you do.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, like, for example, men, but I think that's another problem. Ego is an issue also, especially with men. They, and it does cross because women do pick it up. The times of old was that men were the breadwinners. They were the ones who made all the money and brought the money home. But times have changed. Women make more money than men do, you know, quite often. And women sometimes throw that in the men's face at times. And then their ego sometimes is shattered already because they don't make as much money. But again, if your household can function, if my wife makes $1 million a year and she wants me just to stay home and take care of the kids because she makes $1 million a year, right? Fine. You know what I'm saying? I'll stay home and take care of the kids because that's what works for the household. It's better. So I think oftentimes ego gets into these society roles and the roles that people think that men and women should have. Ego, and it's just antiquated thoughts. You know, and, you know, it's just, you know, times have changed. You know, nowadays you need two people to work and bring money home to take care of the household, especially if you live here in New York City. It's very hard for a married couple to have one income coming in the house to pay for that rent at the apartment and everything else. So,
but really, Matt, I think, and that was definitely a great question. And I think that these are conversations that couples should be having while they're dating. What are your thoughts about roles? What are your opinions about it? Definitely, these are the talks that we should be having way before marriage.
No, and you're 100% right. I do that after, like, if we get even get to our third date, you know, at that point, I'm gonna start asking questions. That means I like you enough to continue seeing you. And now, right now, before I even start continue seeing you more, we need to know we have the same thought patterns. If we agree on the things, or can agree to disagree and still function together, learn from each other. I mean, I've had women tell me things that I never thought of, but you know what? You're right. And because of new information coming in, I've changed my mind on something. Like, yeah, you're right. I can deal with that. But yeah, we need to have those. I think most people are caught up on the dates of just being on the date, and most relationships are based on sex and sexual attraction, and not spiritual attraction. And that's a problem, I think. And that's one of the reasons why people choose the wrong people for the first in the first place. It's either sex or money. It's usually sex or money at the downfall of all relationships, you know, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
And also, they're looking to recreate something. Again, that's the therapist in me. They're looking to recreate something that didn't have, or something that's missing.
Okay. Something they didn't have or missing. So if you didn't have it, you're still looking for it.
Absolutely.
And you're on marriage number 5, or, you know, girlfriend number 18. Then, you know, chances are you're looking for the wrong thing. You know, to me, yeah, you know, or you get attracting the wrong thing, the wrong person, the wrong energy, the wrong spirit to you. And, you know, that's the spiritual society becoming out, talking about that kind of stuff, you know. Yeah.
That's where the self-mastery comes in, right? Becoming the self.
Yes. See, Karen said we attract what we are energetically. Correct. That's what we were just talking about. Change your energy mentally, physically, spiritually through knowledge of self. There you go. Yep. That's what we said. Right on, Karen. Right on. Exactly what we were just talking about.
Absolutely, Karen. But just to add a little bit more to that, we actually attract how we truly feel about ourselves. So I agree with Karen. Karen, I agree with you 100% that we attract who and what we are energetically. But I have this saying, tell me who your spouse is, tell me who you're dating, and I'll tell you how you feel about yourself. I'll tell you how you feel about yourself. Because who we date, who we spend our time with, is actually a reflection of how we truly feel about ourselves.
That's interesting. Wow. I would one day like to play a game and get a bunch of people together, men and women, and have a game session with you. And say, all right, fine. Here is the last 10 people I dated, 5 people I dated, and see the pictures, and then talk about who they were and what they did and blah, blah, blah. And then you can say, well, this is you. You date these people for this reason. That would be really interesting. We got to put that together. We got to talk about that, because that would be a fun game. And that'd be a good show too. I forgot to talk about that. Might be a really good show. Dating to find yourself, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, we do. That's interesting.
Because
I never thought about that.
Matt, think about it. Everyone we date is actually a mirror. It's a mirror. It's a mirror into how we really see ourselves and what we really feel about ourselves. Because think about it. Certain things that we tolerate from people and not setting boundaries with people, there's low self-love happening, or low self-boundaries, lack of self-boundaries and low self-love. So tell me who you're dating. Tell me who your partner is. Tell me who your spouse is. I'll tell you how you feel about yourself.
So now let me ask you this. And I'll just use myself as an example, because we're talking. I'll throw myself out there on the barbecue pit and get roasted by you if I need to be. But if you the majority of the women I date, and my sister and Yana will verify it, she will tell you, they're usually very pretty, and they're usually dark skinned, and they're usually successful, you know, in some life. However, there was a time for some reason a lot of the women I dated were either police officers or correction officers. That was the joke in the family. You keep dating these damn women with guns. Somebody's going to shoot you one day and stuff, you know. But, you know, and then yet, however, in my life, I've dated a lot of different people, you know, Black women who were, some were very successful in life, doctors and attorneys, some were on welfare, you know. I dated them because they were good people. And most of the people in the honorable test are, or 90, I guess 90. If you ask her, it's 75% of women I date are good people. But you know, I would say, you know, 95% are really good people. If after a point I realize you're not a good person, I let you go. You know, I can't deal with people who are not good at heart and, you know, good people. But is there something about me on that end that you might say I got a problem and I need to see a therapist?
Well, you said something poignant though, Mike. You said once you realize someone is not a good person, then you make a decision to end the relationship. So maybe a core need for you is someone who's kind.
I need good energy around me all the time. So you know what I'm saying? I need good energy.
But that's
I can't deal with it.
Does
right. Well, that's what I'm saying. And I think that's why I attract good people to me, because I'm always good. And I'm giving and what happens, I attract the same thing. Right. And I only expect that. That's what I want. It's just be a good person.
That's
I don't care how much money you make. I don't care, you know, what you do. If you're a good person, we can rock. You know what I'm saying? And, you know.
So that
I'm still friends with them. Yeah.
So that means that part of your default is that, or your default or your organic disposition is that of kindness. So then you're not going to settle for anything less.
Right, right. Well, that's it. That is my deal breaker right there. That is my deal breaker.
So then you see the tell me who you're dating and I'll tell you how you feel about yourself.
Right. And so, and it's funny, we have the joke here, and me and Yana, that I'm still pretty good friends with all the women I dated, you know, pretty much in my life. Some of them I still talk to every blue moon, or they're around. All of them are still clients of Yana's. They all are still Yana's clients. She gets, she laughs and I got all your damn girlfriends as my clients and stuff, you know. So, you know, and then she even married one of them. And somebody else starts and Yana, you traitor. You know, but yeah, so I figure you do. Is you meet nobody but yourself, and it's important to have self-mastery of yourself. Those things are important. Somebody else here says, Sarah, I do not allow
She's a therapist.
She's a therapist. Yes. She's over here analyzing me too. When I go over here, she's gonna say, "Man, that man used with that thing. He got issues." I do not allow society to dictate how I define, how I view myself, nor how I show up in my marriage.
She's a
how she shows up in her marriage. Okay, all right. That was a little strong statement right there. How I show up in my marriage. Okay. I'm
wondering if Sarah's response is to defining the roles. So if I agree with her, it's you that dictate how the flow of your marriage. So absolutely, Sarah. Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to put this up, but pay Yana no mind. I'll let you read it. Of course, you know.
Matt is someone who thinks he is phenomenal. Got it.
Pay Yana no mind. She's, you know, she likes to joke every once in a while. But that's cool. So so you are, just make sure before we end this, Therapy for Black Men. That's the website, correct? And do you have group therapy, or is it one-on-one sessions? How is it?
You mean with the men?
Yeah.
So for the most part, I'm not on the directory, but through my private practice, Life Rebuilding, I do get a lot of men that I see individually and couples, but no group. But what I'm hoping for, and the more visible my husband and I are, is to do a lot more with Therapy for Black Men, where it's providing funding, free therapy. That's really direction, a podcast That's really
Okay.
the direction that my husband and I really want to take therapy for Black men. Again, investing in the mental well-being of our men. And
That's
again,
great.
the responses have been fun. It's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. I remember when I first started, my husband and I, when we first started, the website designer was really concerned that there would be more therapists than Black men inquiring about therapy. Actually, is the opposite. We have so many Black men who are inquiring about therapy. So the responses have been overwhelmingly just really good. And I'm so proud of our men for their vulnerability. I'm so proud of them for wanting to really just invest in their emotional lives, in their mental health. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So you don't necessarily do group therapy. I know men are always talking about, we need to get together as men and just talk and have men sessions. And, you know, I thought, well, it's a good opportunity to come and have them go see you as a group and sit down and just talk, you know, about issues and things with a, you know, a therapist in the room. That's not something you're really looking to do.
No, but on the directory, however, there are several men on the directory, as well as women that are on directory as well, that do offer group therapy. So my encouragement is for the men to go on and really just look through the list and see from the profile who they may or may not align with, and obviously scheduling a consultation, of course.
Okay. Okay. All right. So there's so many things I can talk to you about. We can go on for days. I know you got clients calling you right now, probably trying to get some help. And, or the kids are like, "Where mommy at?" Stuff. We gotta get some things. And I love your daughter. She's absolutely a dream and stuff. She is so cool. Is there anything you want to tell the world about therapy, whether it's for men or whether it's for COVID-19, whether it's, you know, that you can leave with people to know that they can find help and that they're not alone?
I think it's people realizing that we're slowly moving away from the stigma that therapy is for people with only with problems, or for people who are crazy. I hate that word, if you will.
I'm a little crazy.
And that we don't discuss our problems with the world, that we keep it in. I have this thing, I believe, if it's under the rug, it's still in the house. And therapy is just really for growth and finding out who you are, becoming, again, a student of self, and really mastering yourself and getting to really know the other people around you. So it can only benefit. So if you're listening to this live and you have been dealing with depression, anxiety, or you've just been noticing some patterns where you're not living life well, definitely there's so many people, especially now, who therapists rather, who are doing sliding scales if it's too costly for you. The whole point is we have therapy for Black girls, which is a phenomenal website for women of color. Therapy for Black men. We have melanin and mental health. We have so many platforms now. Black Men Heal. We have so many platforms for our Black men and for our women to really have a space where they can be themselves and talk through things and heal. And I also want to, before we leave, I want to point this out, though. Know that you can be sad and still be healing. We have to allow multiple truths to exist in our lives. I think, Matt, a lot of us have this notion that if we're healing, we can't be angry. If we're healing, we can't have a bad day. You can still be healing and still at times feel anxious. So it's giving yourself or allowing yourself permission for multiple truths to exist. But the most important thing is, as long as you're doing the inner work, that's what matters. That's what matters. And it has wonderful, wonderful generational impact on not only on your mental health, but on the lives of everybody who comes in contact with you. So
Mm-hmm.
Therapy is not a dirty word. It's actually life-saving.
Yeah, and I think many more people are starting to learn about that now. That it's not a dirty word. That they can go see a therapist, and it's okay. Nobody's gonna look at you strange. Most people need to go probably see a therapist anyway. I know Beyonce just donated $6 million for therapy for people of COVID-19. She just donated, I think it was $6 million for that. And I'm gonna leave with this last question that I saw on somebody else's post today. That if you find a man who doesn't love his mother, then he probably will not love you properly. What do you feel about that statement?
I really feel if you find a man who don't love himself, he's most likely not going to love you, because just to make a blanket statement like a man who doesn't love his mother won't love you, it's complex. So we don't know the dynamic that he has with his mother.
Right.
He could have been mostly absent. So we don't know the dynamic that this man have with his mother. I think the focus should be if the man loves himself, he will therefore be open to loving you and loving everyone around him. Including his mother. Of course, we want him to love his mother, but
his mother might have been crazy and stuff. And just couldn't deal with it. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, she didn't see therapy like she should have. But that's so true. If anybody loves themselves, they probably are going to be better to you and love you better because they already love themselves. And you would not want to. You want for your brother what you want for yourself, or you want for your spouse what you want for yourself, and that's very, very important. Give and take is the sharing of energy and natural. Vladimir, I thank you so much. I'm gonna let you go. I know you have other things to do. I know you have 1,000 clients waiting for you. So I want to thank you, from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this experience with me. Ladies and gentlemen, you are looking at and listening to one of the top therapists in New York City. She is the bomb, as you can see. And I'm gonna put up your website one more time. therapyforblackmen.org. They can just contact you through there, correct?
Actually, the encouragement is for the men to go on. Prayerfully, we'll get more men to sign up to register, more clinicians, more coaches, but for them to go on and really to connect with someone in their state.
Okay. So how can they contact you directly if they want to talk to you directly?
They can contact me via my private practice, which is liferebuilding.com.
Life and building?
Liferebuilding.com.
Oh, like rebuilding.
Yes.
Okay. So rebuilding our lives. Life rebuilding. Okay. I hope I spelled everything right. My liferebuilding.com.
Yes.
Is that it? All right. There you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Vladimir Kalixty, the most wonderful person in the world.
Yeah.
And that is her website. You can go there and contact her and find her information. Become a client. I'm going to probably become a client at some point. I'm going to get enough money.
Matt, I can't see you.
All right. Well, I got to find another therapist now and stuff. My sister's been trying to take me to a therapist for the longest and stuff. So, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're out of here. We had a great time. I appreciate everybody for watching. Vladimir, once again, thank you so much. Brothers, go out there. Therapy for Black men. Don't be afraid. Ladies, go see Vladimir. Couples, go see Vladimir. And you will have a rebuilding experience. Thank you so much. Vladimir, take care. We'll talk soon.
Have a good night, everyone.
Everybody have a good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you so much for watching. Love you guys. Love you guys. Love you guys. We are done.